Diet, the biggest overused four-letter word of them all. How many of you have been on a diet? How many of you have tried more than one? How many of you have tried the exact same diet as your friend or social media influencer and actually gained weight? And how many of you are sick and tired of trying to find the perfect diet for you? The word diet didn't even start out as a four-letter word, nor was it meant to be just about eating certain foods to lose weight. It comes from the word dietetica, which was meant to encompass an entire way of life, which included diet, exercise, and life. I have been in the health and fitness industry now for almost 13 years, and it was my frustration in trying to find the perfect diet for all that led me into the field of epigenetics as a certified coach. You see, up until this point, the diet and fitness industry has been based primarily off of trial and error, with us being the experiment. But now, the perfect diet in all its beautiful definition is actually becoming a reality. Now that we have the human blueprint for each individual with your own unique DNA, it is possible to find that perfect nutrition plan, sleep routine, exercise plan for you. It's the year 2020, and most of us have heard of the term DNA, genes, or genetics. But here's a quick overview so that we're all on the same page. Genes are often referred to as the blueprint for life. All of our body's cells contain chromosomes or packages of DNA strands. DNA is the material that carries all the information of how a living organism will look and function. Each piece of information is carried on a different section of the DNA, and these sections are what are called genes. DNA holds the map of our genes. As humans, we have 46 chromosomes and 23 matched pairs, and each pair contains one from our mother and one from our father, which is why family history can play such an important role in what conditions we might be at risk for. Then we have what we call the genome, which is the genetic material that makes up the living organism. It is contained in chromosomes, tiny thread-like structures inside the cell. Chromosomes are made up from the DNA, and DNA is a sequence of smaller units called bases. These bases combine to form genes. These contain the instructions that are passed down from generation to generation through reproduction. And there are about 25,000 to 30,000 genes in the human genome. In 1990 to 2003, there was something called the Human Genome Project, or HGP to sound all James Bond-like. Scientists from all over the world gathered together to discover the exact makeup of genetic material that controls the way human beings develop and grow. The success of HGP helped people to understand the process of evolution better and is aiding scientists who hope to prevent and treat inherited diseases. Genomic sequencing reveals the secrets our genes keep from us. It creates further discovery into what actually makes us unique. Enter the field of epigenetics. It touches on so many aspects of how we live and the habits that go along with it. We are all unique individuals. We are not one uniform genetic code that says what works for one is going to work for the other. Heck, that would have made my job a whole lot easier with a simple cut, copy, and paste. Epigenetics is everywhere. What you eat, where you live, the air you breathe, the way you breathe, when you sleep, how much exercise you get, the people you surround yourself with will all eventually cause chemical modifications around the genes that will turn them on or off over time. Epigenetics is what makes us unique. The different combinations of those genes that are turned on or off is what makes us wonderfully unique human beings. Since the DNA code itself never really changes, but we can alter the expression of these genes through nutrition, lifestyle, and exercise, we can actually control the destiny of our genetic expression. The first step is knowing your genetic code, and the second step is learning how that interacts with the environment. Everything we do can change our gene expression. We have all the data now on food, exercise, and lifestyle. It is a better program than what has been available up until now. You have the blueprint to build your optimal life. We have light switches in our home. Do they turn themselves on or off by themselves? No, you do. Well, if they do, you better call an electrician or an exorcist right now. You have the power to turn the light on or off, and our genes are much the same. We can be proactive about who we spend time with, what we eat, and how much sleep we get. Once I know better, I do better. I now know my genetic code. I have a blueprint. It showed me areas in my life that I might need support in and areas that genetically I might excel in. It's changed the way I eat, when I exercise, how to support my exercise, how much sleep I get. I'm going to go through some of the really cool things that I learned about myself and my genetics. There's something called the ApoE status that looks at recommendations for saturated fat. Saturated fats come from mostly animals, so eggs, dairy, meat, cheese, that kind of thing. I have a variant in the gene that can be turned on and increase my risk for plaque buildup and cognitive decline if I consume high amounts of saturated fat. Knowing that helps me with confidence know that the way most people are doing the ketogenic diet, so lots of cheese and bacon and eggs, would not be the best for me. I might not remember it with that cognitive decline, but it wouldn't be the best choice. I also have genetic variants that will improve my body's ability to lose weight with higher monounsaturated fat, so more avocados and olive oils, which sounds like a better choice to me. And I will lose more abdominal fat too, which is an added bonus. One thing that has always puzzled me is what happens to me when I eat sweets. I pride myself in being someone who can make a decision and stick to it, but I have never been the girl that can have one cookie or 3 mini eggs or one piece of cake. I was always the girl that was adding, a 1/4 cup of almond milk creamer to my coffee instead of a tablespoon. So I thought I was weak, but it turns out I have a combination of 2 genetic variants. I have what is called the sweet tooth gene, which deactivates inhibitions and turns off the fullness signal once I start eating sugar. Plus I have a decreased sweet perception, which means I need to eat more of it to actually taste the sweetness. Hence why I was adding a 1/4 cup of the creamer to my coffee instead of just a tablespoon. So knowing this allows me to set myself up for success. It's not that I'm never gonna have the cookies or mini eggs. I just know that I am the person that cannot put them on the table beside me and expect to walk away. I learned that I don't convert sunlight from outside into the usable form of vitamin D in my body, which makes sense given most of my ancestors are Irish Scots who probably spent most of their time inside a dark pub on a rainy day drinking beer. So with all the activities that keep me outside in the summer, I still need to take a vitamin D supplement. And vitamin D is an epigenetic powerhouse right from conception. So if our mamas don't have enough vitamin D, the nutrients can't even go through the placenta. And it can upregulate thousands of genes. I take it every day with vitamin K to lower my fracture risk and help with that cognitive decline. When it comes to exercise advantage, I am likely better at endurance versus power, which I actually didn't need my genetics to tell you this, nor did anybody who's ever raced with me. I have one speed and I can go for hours at that speed, but it's not very fast. I learned I need extra recovery time in between intense exercise sessions and that my mitochondria, so the little powerhouses in my cell, need some extra love and support, so I supplement accordingly. The exercise piece would have been really helpful when I was personal training full-time, Like if I take myself, for example, it's not that I can't train sprinting and power, it's just that it's gonna take a little extra effort. So with my clients, when I was blaming their mindset, it might have actually been legit something in their genetics that was making it that much harder for them, which is why they were meeting me with such resistance. So like I said, once I know better, I do better. So for any of my past clients, I apologize. I am genetically an extreme morning person, which explains why most of you who know me think I'm crazy because I'm up at 4:30 or 5. But that is actually the best time for exercise and cognitive function. So anytime I gotta do work, the best time for me to do that is in those waking hours. I learned, thank God, that I'm a fast metabolizer of caffeine. Because if you're a slow metabolizer of caffeine, it can actually increase your cardiovascular risks. And I was really, really hoping that that was not going to be the case for myself. Because as most of you know, I have a healthy love affair with coffee. I learned about my brain's affinity for dopamine and serotonin. Dopamine and serotonin are two powerful neurotransmitters in our brain that influence mood. I learned that genetically I am low. So naturally, I'm going to be seeking out things that are going to increase dopamine. Alcohol, exercise, chocolate, which explains my addictive tendencies. So early on to some not so great things, and in the later years, exercise, work, and problem solving. Because actually problem solving, whether you get the answer right or wrong, sends a little rush of dopamine through your brain. That explains why I have been a student for most of my life. That is literally just a snapshot of some of the things I learned about myself, but it is the outline I use moving forward. Once I know better, I do better. I no longer have to guess what is best for my body. I find it super empowering to take control of the things that we can. I might not be able to control the state of our world right now or the quality of the air I breathe, but I can control what I put in my body, how I move my body, how much sleep I get, and the type of exercise I do. Now, looking ahead and in broader terms, I want to talk about healthcare versus sick care, or disease care as it's been called. We are in the midst of a shift where healthcare professionals and clients alike are moving towards prevention, where prevention precedes treatment. The healthcare sector has been programmed to cure the problem rather than erase it before it happens. But now, thanks to genomic sequencing, yay HGP, and all that science has learned and is continuing to learn, healthcare professionals are moving towards a preventative attitude. Studying our genes closer has sparked the preventative attitude, learning from our genes to prevent what is coming and make these changes now. The expressions of genes and how they regulate inflammation and immune function are under our control, depending on the toxins or nutrients that we're putting in our body. Inflammation, for example, can be due to consuming processed foods, fast foods, white sugar, white flour, heat-damaged oils. These foods do turn on numerous genes that promote inflammation, and inflammation can cause disease. Remember how I said the DNA itself never really changes? That means we can set up our children to thrive by making lifestyle and environmental changes right from birth. As parents, we often joke about wishing our kids came with instruction manuals. Well, in a lot of ways, it turns out they do. We are the architects of our evolution. Limitless potential lies within us, and we don't need a fancy pill like the Bradley Cooper movie to make it happen. We can flourish and thrive with advanced health solutions for optimization and enhancement. Which car would you rather drive? Each car will get you where you're going, but how much more comfy would car B be? How fast do you want to travel? How much extra work do you want to put into this car? Which house would you rather live in? House A probably looked amazing when it was first built, but through neglect and environmental changes, it has been run into the ground. How do you want to age? You can erase the lines society has drawn around aging. You have the secret right within your genes. And the IKEA? Are you kidding? It's already hard enough with the instructions. I couldn't imagine trying to do that without. All of these slides are illustrations of what is possible for your life with your genetic code. The house and the car, those represent your body, and being active later in life is so possible. And all you need to do is look and learn what your own blueprint has to say, your own set of instructions to build your optimal life. With at least 16,000 peer-reviewed studies underway, I believe the field of epigenetics will be a guiding force of our future. I believe it is the key that unlocks our limitless potential, and the lines around what is possible for our lives are going to be erased. In the not too distant future, I believe things like the obesity epidemic, healthcare overload, and many other lifestyle-related factors that we're dealing with right now as a society are going to be diminishing thanks to the field of epigenetics and learning the power of your own unique genetic code.